a strong interest, want to be a leader of our community, and, you know, I would like to see you with our next round of
And
council.
the Garrett roots also go very deep in this community. As a matter of fact, there are Garrett's names on the memorial in front of the school.
That's correct.
They're World War II veterans.
I will make my motion to appoint Mrs. Garrett as our next city council member to fill my vacancy for the term to expire December 31st of 2018. Can I have a second, please? Really? Not even a second discussion. So you had a closed mind to just, that was what you're gonna do. And there was nothing that was gonna change.
Can I speak?
It's not really open to the public, John.
Okay.
Got here a little late. I mean, if I give it to you, then I gotta give it to
All right.
everybody. I apologize, but that's just what it is. There's a motion, is there a second, please? For the nomination?
Well, they can't spoon feed her information, so she can put out bullshit.
Yeah.
So what's that?
Well, we could do one of two things. We could either go with the next nomination if in fact be one, or we could just simply let the seat stay vacant.
Independents nominate independents, Republicans nominate Republicans, Democrats get Democrats. Say what you want, solicitor. You all know what's right.
I would like the council to reconsider. It's just simply politics, partisan politics. That doesn't go too far in my book or in anybody's book these days. People are tired of partisan politics. Do the right thing. Do the right thing. Alan Garrett is a stand-up person in our community with a very strong reputation, has a good following with the kids that Blackwell for more than 18 years, I think, Alan is. Just with the way that you raised your kids to be perfect. There ain't too many things in this world that are perfect, but I know all your kids personally. I know that you did a phenomenal job raising them. And I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you too. I'm proud to know they came from us on the county we all love.
They're proud that they come from this.
Mr. Mayor, I don't think anybody here on council is doubting that Mrs. Barrett is a fine, upstanding person and that she has raised a good family. I don't think that's the issue here.
The issue's partisan, right? It's obvious.
The issue is that we have an opinion as to who we would like to have in council. And it's not about her character. It's not about her family. I think she's a fine young lady. I think she raised her family and her children are excellent kids.
Even as a
Very
couple
well
of them are law
mannered,
enforcement.
very schooled. And I was never saying anything bad about her. Come on.
Great, why don't you second?
If it's not such a bad idea with what you said, I mean, I agree with you, then take a second. I made a motion, take a second. Partisan politics, okay? That's all this is. It comes down to partisan. It's not fair. It's not fair to the city.
Move on, please.
We'll move on. I guess.
Okay. I would like to make a nomination for my vacant seat, the position of council, Aaron Buchanan. Second.
I'll second.
And we have a roll call vote.
One of the things that I do want to put on record is that I think it's sad that a couple people sitting at this table used Mr. Buchanan for their personal political fodder. And I think Aaron, there's no question in my mind, is a good guy. And I think he would do well. But I'm just very disappointed that he was led down the wrong path as to what's right. by a bunch of lies that just spoon-fed him. And he kind of really damaged his reputation by doing it. Not mine. I'm a strong guy.
I don't think we damaged Mr. Buchanan's reputation, because I think he's a stand-up guy, he can make his own decision
Well,
based on facts.
there's a lot of people that were very disappointed with some of the stuff that they read. And I mean, quite frankly, Larry, I think I know where a lot of that stuff comes from.
There's 3 losers up there, mixing up the losers. And my gut feeling, is that what you're gonna judge on, your gut feeling? She went against a lot of people when she was on the zoning board. The only one that voted right went against everybody. She's not out for nobody, herself. You guys gotta be kidding me. Really? You should sit up there and let that happen after what she said about you? I told her, guess what? I was right, wasn't I?
I said what I wanted to say.
Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Barbetto?
Pass.
Gibbons?
Yes.
Hughes?
Yes.
Mayor Venezia?
Abstain.
Mr. Barbetto?
Yes.
Thank you for your interest in running, or not running, but wanting to be appointed.
Did you read my resume?
Pardon me, Joe?
Did you read the resume?
Would you like it back?
All right, Aaron, just gotta get sworn in. Do you have anybody in particular you'd like me to swear you in, or would you like to, solicitor swear you in?
I don't know who has to do it. Is there rules?
There's no rule.
Absolutely.
Want to have somebody hold the Bible for you, like your wife or kids?
For my wife,
That's what I'm gonna do.
grandkids are going to bed, or my kids are going to bed soon.
Turn this way. Aaron.
Oh,
Okay, repeat after me.
I,
Aaron Buchanan,
Aaron Buchanan,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
to support the Constitution. The what? Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey.
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
And I bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and to the governments established in the United States
and the governments established in the United States
and in this state,
and in the state,
on the authority of the people,
on the authority of the people,
and that I will
Back to the
faithfully,
deal, so it's not gonna change.
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform all the duties
and justly perform all the duties
of the office of City Councilman
of the office of City Councilman
of the City of Estell Manor,
of the City of Estell Manor,
New Jersey,
Tell them
New Jersey,
like it is, Mr.
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Sir, first.
Come on up here. All right.
His father doesn't count for one time.
I know, I got your.
Anything to say, take plenty of notes. Anything you don't understand, stop me, or stop anybody right away and ask a question. In government, there's no such thing as a stupid question. There can be stupid answers, but there's no such thing as a stupid question. You only ask questions because you don't understand, so. Okay. Good luck.
Thank you.
Moving along here, I have the nomination of solicitor, and at this time, I want to nominate the law firm of Grayson Marmero. I gave reasons in closed session at the last city council meeting. I don't think that it would be appropriate to make any embarrassments to anybody publicly. I certainly did have some strong compelling reasons as to why I think we need to move forward and change our solicitorship. And that is exactly what I'm doing, so I'm gonna make a nomination to have Grace and Marmero as our next law firm to represent the city of Estell Manor.
I'll second that.
First, let me make a motion, because I made the nomination, I'm gonna make the motion, now you second.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Yeah. Can I ask how you came about with this law firm?
It was recommended to me.
Recommended to you? Did you do any research on this law firm as to its character?
I've met with them. I spoke to a couple different people about the law firm. I understand that they're very good. They have several municipalities that they have done over the years, and I feel very comfortable to move forward with the firm of Grace and Romero. I mean, quite frankly, I think we've had some very expensive billing in the last several years with lawsuits. I mean, even just with this last lawsuit alone, the tally of it is just about as much as what it cost in the year 2006 for the other solicitor. And that was for his entire year.
Okay. The reason I asked is that, one other question. Did you receive any campaign contributions from this law firm or from anyone connected to this law firm?
Nobody's connected to anybody, no.
Well, you did not? Okay. Can you answer me then, if you did your research in this law firm, why I took about 5 minutes to find these on the internet for ethics violations where they misused a client's trust fund account to pay their own bills
Where did you get that from?
off the internet
Where did you get that?
within the last 2 weeks?
Because I just mentioned your name for the first time tonight, so where did you get that from?
They submitted a RFP.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I tried to do my homework to find out a little bit about them. There's also an article here.
They are,
in the
that
Times.
was with another attorney, and now it's just Grace and Marmero that is of the law firm.
Mr. Long is still a member of that law firm.
I don't,
He's still a participant of that law firm. I have found that out.
I don't know that.
I do.
It's a firm, it's called Grace and Marmero.
He changed the name. Marmero,
The RFP.
Mr. Marmero was part of this complaint. So he is part of it. Mr. Long, he took his name off it and put him, now he is an associate of that law firm. And they just played, well, I'm telling you. Well, this is the paperwork, Mr. Mayor. And it took me about 5 minutes to find that online.
First I'm hearing about it.
Here's an article in the Trenton Times with regard to a complaint, discipline complaint, and ethics violations for Mr. Long.
Well, being that she's want to undress me on something that I don't know whatsoever, I mean, what about what we have gone through in the last 4 years with the excessive billing that we have paid? I mean, honestly, it's averaging about $85,000 a year for Estell Manor. Something's wrong with this picture. There are a couple of lawsuits just in particular that I happen to know. They're just the very last one, Larry. You want to support?
I understand what you're saying.
No,
but
I got the floor
What we're
right
talking
now. Right now, I've got the
about is
floor.
this particular law firm.
Well, I've got the floor, and quite frankly, the way that we have handled things in the last couple of years, I do not agree with, not even a little bit.
I understand that.
And it's all got to do with bringing the bacon back to the law firm. And I made that real clear with both of the candidates that I'm mentioning, with Mr. Grace and Mr. Marmero, that this city is not supposed to be your private little piggy bank. And we're gonna keep our costs controlled and in order. And we're not gonna run away with not necessary litigation, which I know has happened on 2 separate occasions.
Any more discussion?
I'm gonna make the nomination for a second time for the firm of Grace and Marmero. Like,
You've already seconded, and now you go to a vote, right?
yep. So I've made 2 nominations so far.
Roberta,
No.
Buchanan,
Can I pass, since I don't have like all the details?
you wanna abstain?
Yeah.
There you go. Givens,
No.
Hughes,
No.
Mayor Venezia.
Yes. At this time on record, I'm going to say for the 3rd time that I'm going to make the nomination of Grace and Marmero for the law firm for the city of Estell Manor. They have an office in Vinyl. Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to make a nomination for the position of solicitor to Parker McKay.
You cannot, that comes from the mayor only, the nomination.
That is correct. The initial nomination comes from the mayor with the advice and consent of council. So you've had the nomination of the Grace firm, which has been defeated.
Correct.
So at this point, there's nothing left for.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess next that we're gonna go down to is, the engineer's report. Mike, we'll charge you a little bit of money on the way out the door for the entertainment we just gave you.
I'll be pretty brief here. Closeout documents were reviewed by the improvement authority. There's a couple missing items. I'm in contact with the contractor to get those cleaned up and get that processed for the concrete pad for the proposed pavilion. Earlier, or late in February, direction of council, we attended the latest CDBG grant funding application, and they made us aware of a deadline of March 27th. If the city would like to apply for the CDBG funding for fiscal year 2018. I know for 2017, council decided to go with the project with ADA improvements as far as the lighting, the path. Just to advise you, you're not fixed in by this project when you submit for the March 27th. It's essentially you're just securing that funding. So in the course of, a month later, if you decide to do a different project that meets the requirements, you can certainly change that. So I would just need a project to move forward with, to meet the deadline, to apply, to show that the city has interest in applying for that funding. They didn't have the total, but in the last 8 years that we've been doing this, it's always been $15,000, and they anticipate that being the same. Currently, the city has a balance of just over $29,000. And it's my understanding that the 2017 funding was actually just released about 2 months ago. So they start this process rather early, and the additional $15,000 for the 2018 you probably won't see until very late in the year.
Mike, that 29,000, does that include the 2017, 15,000?
That includes the 2017. And you're probably gonna receive an additional 15, but, in order to have this project done, the funds, in place this year, I would use the $29,000 as the threshold.
Okay, and if we don't have a project for 18, we don't get the 15,000?
No, you would be forfeiting that,
Okay.
that funding.
If I could say this to the council, we talked about this since last year, and I think we were actually, or nearly all of us were in agreement that we need to have some additional lighting out there in the parking lot. We need to have a better walkway. We talked about a parking lot for handicap. It needs to be better than what we currently have out there.
Right.
If we were to say tonight for the lighting and for the paving, whether it be an additional walkway, whether it be an amendment, or not amendment, but expanding the disability parking space out there now and having asphalt in that one section, is that enough to get us moving forward tonight?
That's sufficient.
Council okay with that?
That's fine.
Let's move with that, right?
I'll proceed with that, and there is a section on the application once it's completed, I'll have for the mayor's signature, and I'll get that over to the office and Linda, as soon as that's wrapped up to meet the deadline for the March 27th.
And just one other question, Mike. With this your fee is not out of this money. That your fee is something we're gonna have to pay over and above.
Yes,
The
that way,
grant money.
correct.
Okay?
It's, the grant money cannot be utilized for design costs.
Okay.
Aaron, okay?
Yeah, Mike, I had a conversation with some state people, and it's my understanding, I think you even had this with your Chuck, that at any given time of the year, we could do it now, we could do it next month, the following month, we could do it any time of the year, but I think I kind of made a couple of inroads in Trenton already. I was in Trenton earlier today. We'd like to see this council authorize Mike to apply for the discretionary money that's available. And if we get it, that's great. If we don't, it's probably just a small nominal fee that we would have to pay for your application process. Is that correct?
With the discretionary, do we have to have a particular purpose for that money?
Yes.
It's,
Identify a road.
right, it's an extension of the trust fund. You know,
The
each year-
DOT.
The DOT local aid trust fund, it's an extension of that, and anytime there's remaining funds, it's pulled into a pot. Anytime municipality can submit a project for discretionary aid, a sidewalk, a roadway.
There's no design plans or anything, we're simply gonna make the application.
It's just an
And
application.
then we move forward with the design plans, if they say yes.
Right.
I think that it's not even a discussion, the single worst street that is virtually disintegrated in its entirety, nearly the entire length, is 12th Avenue. That is a joke. I, in fact, even spoke to.
Joe, you're talking about the whole entire area, right? Off of 11th and around, or just 12th itself?
What I would actually say is let's start from the back and work our way as far as we can get to the front. But the back, Al, as if you take a ride over there, it's just totally shot out, disintegrated. You have the trash trucks that make their U-turns there, they're just tearing up the road, so. I think that would be the best place to start, would be all in the rear of the street and work your way forward. And that way there, let's apply, see if we get lucky, and if we do, we got bases loaded, we're gonna home run.
So, is there an amount in this discretionary fund? Is it,
No, there is no amount. I mean, given that length, it would be typical for a local aid project. I don't think that's excessive, it's a typical roadway length for its projects.
And we did apply for this once before, and I think it was your dad, and he was our engineer at the time, God rest his soul, but we did apply, and we got First Avenue, and we started with that street, and we ran out at $150,000 worth, and then through Senator Whalen, who put the word in for us, he was our senator at the time, and I had a good conversation with him. And I think we got an additional $170,000 on top of the $150 for the discretionary, in which we were able to finish the entire road. So with that being said, we could probably go for the entire length of the street, and see how much they'll give us.
I would recommend go for the entire length from the dead end to 11th.
Without doubt.
And then if you only get a portion of it, we know where to phase it, and you start from the rear and pull it forward.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize our engineer to proceed to apply for the discretionary aid, with that street being 12th Avenue.
I'll second that.
I think that should come to a roll call because we're authorizing expenditure funds. Roll call, please.
Barbetto,
Yes.
Buchanan,
Yes.
Givens,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
Mayor Venezia.
Yes, and Mike, I gave you a sheet before the meeting started tonight.
Yes,
Can you say in so many words just exactly what are they looking for? Is that actually under, municipal engineer, would that be under the planning board engineer?
as I read this, I don't believe, it's more informative. They're just basically stating that there's been a contestment to the FEMA study. It's mainly led by municipalities in New York City. And in order to process this report faster, the updated flood hazard information hasn't been studied within Estell Manor for the Atlantic County report, and it just states it's not included, and to continue to utilize the current maps dated July 2nd, 2003.
So we don't do anything, right?
I don't believe there's any,
Advisement is what they're telling us.
it's essentially an advisement letter.
You wanna hold on to that for your records, or did you receive?
I never received a copy of this.
Hold on to that.
Okay,
I mean, I don't have any use for it, I think.
sure, I'll.
You have a brush
general
myself that
folder.
way. In case we hear anything further, at least we already have a.
And then just a few other items. The current road closeout packet was sent to the city for Walker's Woods Road. I think there was an extra signature needed, and once we receive that, we'll shoot that up to Trenton, along with the design plans for the extension we had discussed. That's gonna go up to the same packet, the overlay for that portion. I think it's broad to 13th or so.
Yes.
That's gonna
Walker's
go,
Woods Road.
yes, the additional overlay in that section. And then Kentucky Avenue is ready to go out to bid. I spoke to Linda today. Next month's meeting is the 11th. I recommended setting a bid date for 11 a.m. On the 11th. We'll open up bids, and then that night I'll have a bid summary, and City Council can do a recommendation award subject to the solicitor reviewing the certification of funds.
All I can say is, you're in possession of this, pull the trigger, do what we gotta do to get this thing moving.
Okay, so I would just need,
No delay.
I would just need an authorization to go out to bid for that.
I make the necessary motion to authorize Grounds Engineering to prepare the bid. Roll call, please.
Barbado.
Yes.
Buchanan,
Yes.
Givens,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
Mayor Venezia.
Yes. Aaron, just for your own notification, we do a roll call when you're expending any kind of money. If it's just 70%, then we do all in favor. Right. Just all, either say yea or nay, right? So anytime we spend money, it's gotta be done individually.
And then lastly, we received word from the DOT regarding the 2018 local aid project, and the city received $156,000 for the resurfacing of Honest John Road. I did prepare a proposal outlining the scope of work, all the standard forms and documentations required by the DOT. I submitted that to council's review.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
Anybody? No further questions?
Just one concerning the pavilion. I have the drawings here. One of the things that Wacko was talking about doing was, besides putting up and over a roof, they were talking about possibly putting in a concession stand. Would this base handle the concession stand of 10 by 14?
It is.
No, 10 by 20.
10 by 20, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Mrs. Brentwood, the pavilion that you're proceeding for, what is that, the pre-made, delivered, or is it gonna be made here?
It's built on site.
It's built on site, so it's gonna be delivered here?
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a reinforced concrete pad
Yes.
that typically handles loads, something of that nature, handles tractor trailers going over top of it. I don't see that being an issue.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
I actually got an email today. The anticipated load is about 9,000 pounds.
Okay.
It's between. They said it's good between 3,500 and 4,000 psi. And my question was just going to be, I wasn't sure if this was reinforced and how thick it was.
It was a 6-inch reinforced concrete pad.
Okay, that's.
Gee, that's a nice pad, that's not going
Like
anywhere.
you said, you can put a building on it.
Okay. Pretty much it.
And do we need to know anything more about the structure itself? I mean, is there any particulars you need to know?
I don't need to know anything particular with that.
It's all